I won't touch pictures. Make it a rule. Seen too many fingers burned. Woman came in this morning, starts rooting in her shopping bag, saying she has something I might be interested in. Been in the attic, etc., etc. The usual rigmarole. Hadn't thought anything about it, apparently, until she saw something similar on, and I knew what was coming. That television programme about antiques. And that someone on the programme from Christie's. I said, Barrow Boys. She said, come again. I said, Sotheby's, Christie's, Barrow Boys. Nicely spoken, lovely suits, fingernails immaculate, but Barrow Boys. She said, well, anyway, he said £2,000. I said, well, he would. He doesn't have to get up at 4 a.m. and flog his ageing Volvo halfway across England just to sit all day in a freezing marquee, only to come away with 2 trivets and an umbrella stand. £2,000. It was one step up from Highland cattle. She said, it's a genuine oil painting. Look at the work that has gone into it. I said, madam, if you'll forgive me, could I point you down the street in the direction of a Tisket Tasket? It's basically a cafe, but doubles as a bric-a-brac shop, and Yvonne does pictures on the side. What I didn't say was that they tend to be mice in pinnies type thing. I popped over the road to tell Derek and Cyril. They've just had a buyer in from Stockholm, practically cleared them out. Staffordshire, mostly, which is their big thing. Doesn't do anything for me, but Derek and Cyril love it. Chunky, I suppose. Actually, I don't have a particular line. Good cottage furniture sums it up. Elm, fruitwood, anything painted. And clocks, of course, when I can get hold of them. Plus pots of the period. Some things I won't sell. Teddy bears, for instance. Teddy bears are a minefield. I was at a sale in Suffolk and I saw a teddy bear actually torn apart between 2 bidders. One of them a vicar. These days they're all going in for little sidelines, eking the job out with jam and little pots of chutney. A woman came in the other day, said, did I have any chutney? I said, I will start doing chutney, madam, when Tesco's starts selling gate-leg tables. But the garage sells potpourri, so what do you expect? I think of Lawrence. Christ, old girl, I didn't sink my gratuity into this place to start selling bloody condiments. He was in bomb disposal, which was why, to begin with, we went in for clocks. Though, of course, there were clocks there. Oh, there was everything then. Furniture, pottery, stock, no problem. And if one had the eye, which I do, one could pick and choose. Not anymore. Take what you can get and it's money, money, money. If you love beautiful things, which was why I came into this business in the first place, it just breaks your heart. Oh, and everyone's an expert now, up to all the tricks of the trade. You'll see something catch their eye, but they don't ask about it straight away. They'll inquire about something else, pretend they're not interested. But then it's, oh, incidentally, how much is this little thing? The oldest dodge in the world, and they expect you to be taken in by it. Of course, they picked all that up from the television. I won't have one. I said to Nancy Bernard, I refuse to watch it. She said, well, we only have it because of Faye. Faye. They're both glued to it. I wish I could shift this refectory table. It was a real snip when I got it. I've had it a year now and not a nibble. Lovely top. Oak. Old Miss Ventris, seeing what there is, took 2 Crown Derby plates off her once, just as a favour. One of them chipped, looking a bit frail. Going on. Lovely cameo brooch. They talk as though you're not in the room. Couple just now looking at the Asiatic pheasant shireen. £60, she says. I gave £2.10 for mine. Yes, but when I wanted to say 1955. And some of them so careless they practically hurl things to the floor. I've got a notice up now. Lovely to look at, nice to hold, but if you break it, I say sold. Somebody looking in. Goldfish bowl. No, you can't see the price, however far you bend. You're going to dislocate your neck and you're still not going to see it, because I've carefully hidden the ticket, so that if you want to see the price, you'll have to come into the shop. Which you're not doing. No. Even if they could see the ticket, they wouldn't understand, as I have my little code. I could take 1,300 for this at a pinch. I've had it a year now, too long. Lawrence would be reading me the riot act. Keep your stock ticking over, old girl. Move it on. And he did, even if it meant not making much. It's like Scrabble, my dear. Start saving up for the big one. The 7-letter word and you're done for. Get your letters down. £5 here, £10 there. Buy for X 1 week, sell for Y the next. That's how you make your money. Look well in a boardroom or one of those loft conversion things. I'd even consider 11.50. I kept wondering about Miss Ventris, so, with not having seen her in a bit, I thought I'd just knock on her door and see how she was. She lives in one of the double-fronted houses on the Mount, original fanlight over the door, and a lovely knocker, a hand grasping a bull. Can't be later than 1820. Though the house I'd have said was Victorian, although it's stucco, which can cover a multitude of sins. And once I get inside, I realise it's 17th century, and seemingly never been touched. And of course, I'm right. She's not well. She's been in bed a fortnight, and it's Mabel, the home help, who answers the door. Now, I know Mabel of old, because she's been in from time to time with the odd bits of stuff, little things, silver vinaigrette, jet brooch, spoons and whatnots, stuff I found homes for straight away. It's all from Newcastle, apparently, where her aunt has had to go into a home. Anyway, Mabel takes me upstairs to see Miss Ventris, who tells me she's had all sorts of tests done, and they still don't know what's wrong with her, which probably means they do. Oh, thin little hand, like dried leaves. It's tragic. Lovely bedside table with a pie crust moulding. District nurse comes in whilst I'm there and plonks a bottle of medicine straight down on it. Criminal! I helped give her some food, but she brings it straight back. The spoon's silver, so while they're cleaning her up, I look at the hallmark. Provincial, Bristol, about 1830. Same sort that Mabel brought in. I love a nice finish. Maple, rosewood, Walnut particularly. What I can't abide is stripped pine. I don't see the point, quite frankly. And they're fanatics about it, some dealers. I mean, still, they'll strip anything. 5 minutes in the caustic tank is 100 years of loving care down the drain. All the character gone. I was thinking about this at Miss Ventris's, because there's polish everywhere. Walnut, elm, fruitwood. It's like a jewel box. I've been popping round there lately on a regular basis, just to relieve Mabel a bit, because the old girl's scarcely conscious now. Doesn't know I'm there half the time. I sit by the bed, the clock ticking. Carriage clock, tortoiseshell veneer, fluted, about 1750. Oh, it made me think of Lawrence. Lovely. Of course, everywhere you look, there's something. It's like houses used to be in the 50s, and most of it museum quality, practically. It was from her grandfather. He was a great collector, apparently. I said to Mabel, "What's going to happen to all of this?" She said, well, she didn't think there were any relations. There had been a niece in Canada, but she had a feeling that she was in an airline crash. I couldn't get her to take me round at first. She said she was under strict instructions from the solicitors. I said, "What solicitors are those?" She said, "Patterson, Beattie and Brown." I said, "Oh, there's no problem there." I took a knee-hole desk off Mr. Patterson, gave him a very good price. She was still a bit reluctant, so I said, "Mabel, I well understand you have to be careful. It's so easy for little things to go walkabout, particularly with old people. Little things, silver, little brooches, you know, the sort of thing." She went a bit quiet. So I said, "Shall we start with upstairs?" I couldn't believe it. Every room a treasure trove, amazing. When I was going, Mabel said, "I'll try and steal some of it your way if I can." I said, "Yes, there'd be a nice little margin on it, even running to the two of us. If the worst comes to the worst, of course." Mabel said, "Yes, but she does seem a little better today. Kept more of her dinner down." Still, you've only got to look at her under that nightdress, and there's nothing there. I said, "Yes." "Where does that nightdress come from?" She said, "Her grandmother, I think. It's hand done. There are half a dozen of them in the linen cupboard. Some of them never worn." Tragic. Of course, the sharks are beginning to gather. I'm sitting by the bed this afternoon, and Derek knocks on the door, bearing one of Cyril's wizened egg custards. Mabel wouldn't let him get his foot round the door. Only then Nancy Bernard rolls up in her terrible beetroot slacks. Says she and Faye swear by some tincture from the swamps of Paraguay that she bought in Chelmsford, and should she get her some? I said to Mabel, they are so transparent. Miss Ventris is asleep, so I have a look at her bed. It's a country piece about 1830, painted, which always gets my vote, and in such good condition. The doorbell goes again, so while Mabel's downstairs, I lift the mattress, and where the paint isn't worn, it's as good as new. I'm just tucking the sheet back, and I see her little eyes are open, and she's watching me. I think she said, "Happy?" Only Mabel came in just then. Of course, you can't tell when it gets to this stage. It goes to the brain. The visitors, the priest comes to anoint her and whatnot, just to be on the safe side, because the doctor says she could go at any time. Mabel and I left him to it, stood respectfully in the background. Had a little embroidered cloth that he covered the chalice with. Arts and crafts by the look of it. It's a beautiful thing. It's a pity it can't be used for something. Of course, when she said happy, she probably meant that she was happy. I said to Nancy Bernard, "Am I a person?" She said, "Come again, love." I said, "Am I a person, or am I simply a professional bargain hunter?" Because that's what she was implying. I said, "I've been coming here as a friend." She said, "Oh, I know that." Bright red cardigan, carmine lipstick, and at the funeral, leather trousers. Even Nancy had managed to find a skirt. Niece. She'd never even met Miss Ventris. Went to Canada at the age of 6. Mabel had given me to understand that she died in an airline crash. Turns out what she had was a hairline fracture. No crash at all. And of course, she comes in for everything, which is understandable. Except that no sooner does she see the place that she announces that aside for 1 or 2 of the choicest pieces that she'll be keeping for herself, she'll be sending the rest to Phillips. I said, "Mrs. O'Rourke, I'm sure there are several local concerns who would give you a very good price, and you wouldn't be landed with the vendor's commission." Turns out she's not paying much commission, because the stuff is of such good quality that she'd come to an arrangement. It was then that she offered me this little box of odds and ends from the desk drawer. I'd been very kind to her aunt, she said, and she wanted to give me a little bit of something in return. I said, "Thank you very much, but I don't want to be given anything." She said, "Well, that's good, because with the solicitors being such sticklers, I should probably charge you a nominal price, and it's legal and above board." I said, "I don't sell bric-a-brac." She said, "Well, if you give me £5 and it fetches more, you can give the rest to Oxfam." I said, "What do you do in Canada?" She said, "Public relations." I said, "Oh," pointedly. "You must be on holiday then." Gave her the money, took the box and went. Of course, being Canadian, she probably thought I was being nice. I haven't been able to face unpacking the box. I've only just done it now. Much as I expected. 1 or 2 pressed glass ashtrays I can get £2 or £3 apiece for. A little gunmetal cigarette case. A serviette ring. All items for the oddments box. The only thing of any interest is a rather smudgy drawing of a finger. I think it's a drawing, it might be a print, but the frame is very distinctive. It's quite small, with little doors that open, so it's a bit like an altar. 19th century, probably. When I get a minute, I'm going to take the drawing out and put something a bit more conventional in, a flower print or something, smarten it up a bit. Might fetch £30 or so, you never know. It's a funny thing to put in a frame. A finger. I think the refectory table's gone. Came in this morning. Only young, curly hair. Can't have been much more than 20. I said, was he looking for anything in particular? He said, well, he did want a little present for his girlfriend, but he was interested in the refectory table. Didn't begin by asking the price, but just said, would I measure it up for him? Well, I was rooting round, looking for a tape measure. He picks up 1 or 2 bits and pieces. I brought Miss Ventris's little drawing out, thinking I could spend the afternoon taking it out of its frame, and popped it down on the refectory table, where he picks it up, puts it on one side, so he could look more closely at the tabletop. When I'd measured it, he gets underneath, has a proper look. There was a bit of worm, but a piece that age, it would be unusual if there wasn't, and we both agreed it was probably dead. So he said what was the best that I could do. Well, I'd given 1100 for it a year ago, So I said, well, I can't do much under 1700. Say 1650? It's oak. He said, I know. It's beautiful. If it fits, it's just what we're looking for. So I gave him my card. He's going to write down the measurements and he's going to call me this afternoon. Just as he's going, he picks up the drawing again and says, what's this? I said, well, it's a finger, isn't it? He said, well, I'm not sure I like that, but it's a nice frame. How much is it? I thought, well, it's an educated voice. I'll take a chance. I said, well, I can't do much under £100. He put it down pretty smartish. I said, the frame alone is worth more than that. He said, yes, it's a frame I'm really interested in. I reckoned to look at my book and said, well, I can do it for £90, and if you're not particular for the drawing, I can take it out. He said, no, don't bother, I can do that. Just then someone comes in, and he writes me the cheque really quickly. I wrapped it up and I said, and you'll let me know about the table? He said, what? I said, the table. He said, oh yes, I'll phone you this afternoon. I think it'll be just right. I've just popped along to the bank to put the cheque in, and I'm waiting for him to call. It's funny, because I'd come down to £90, but he was in such a rush, he'd still made the cheque out for 100. I said no. I wasn't the sort of person who's resentful. I'd made my profit, they'd made theirs. Selling on, everyone makes something. That's what the antiques business is all about. They posed me outside the shop, and this young woman stood next to the camera, and I had to look at her and not it. She said, would I be asking them to give me an ex gratia payment? I said I didn't think I would be asking. I was sure they wouldn't be offering. Of course, it would be nice if they did. I think I would in the circumstances. Actually, I'd forgotten all about it. It was 6 months ago at least. Apparently, they had a lot of tests to do on the paper and whatnot. Then Nancy Bernard comes banging on the window one morning, before I'd even opened, holding a copy of the Telegraph and pointing to the photograph on the front page. And there's the young man, and a blow-up of the finger, which so all the experts, well, some of the experts say, is by Michelangelo. A study, one of the few apparently, of the hand of God on the Sistine Chapel ceiling. I knew I'd seen it somewhere, says Nancy, only it was Faye that pointed it out, glued to the telly box as usual. She said, it's like the finger they have at the start of the South Bank show. Such a shame. If you'd watched the telly, you might have known. What makes it special, apparently, is the ring. God doesn't have a ring on his finger on the ceiling. I mean, why should he? But the ring on the finger has very faintly the arms of the Pope who commissioned it. Julius something or other, Michelangelo's patron. Very satirical on Michelangelo's part, apparently, although I don't see the joke. But all of which, needless to say, bumps up the estimated price. Hasn't been sold yet, but it could fetch anything. 5 million, 10 million. It's unique. A finger, that size. Oh, poor you, says Nancy. Oh, I said, it happens. Only when she'd gone, I was physically sick. The young man who bought it, whom I thought looked quite classy, turns out to be some young blood from Christie's. Says in the paper he'd picked it up in a junk shop. shop. Of course, the person who ought to feel really sick is the niece, Mrs. O'Rourke. I don't think she'd have even looked in the box, so she'd have no idea. So I dropped her a line, wiped the smile off her face. It's been quite busy. Mostly people just wanting a look. At me, chiefly. Still, they bought the odd thing. I sold 2 lemonade bottles yesterday. Only my stock's low. I can't face going to the sales just yet. And I've still got the bloody refectory table. Knee deep in tomatoes. I've made some chutney, frilly top, italic label, 95 pence a bottle. I sold 3 this afternoon.